afternoon. For us, like Dan said, it's the 14th of November. Hi, everyone saying hello. Good to see you all. Woohoo! I saw Jennifer's first comment says, hey, Vinn. We've got, the names are going too fast. I'm looking at the comments. Tanya, I just saw that. I saw Jane. I saw Stephen. I saw someone said Vinn is number one. Thank you. I agree with you. My wife may disagree. Someone said legend. Hey, great to see you all from all corners of the world. I'm so pumped. It's 4 p.m. for us here on a Friday night, and I'm so excited to get into this masterclass for the next 2 hours. But I've got a very important question to ask you before we begin. So the first question I'm going to ask you, Dan, let's bring it up on the poll. Type A, B, or C. How long have we known each other for? A, B, C, or D? How long have we known each other for? I saw someone just said Vin Diesel. Love that, except I'm Vin Jiang. So how long have we known each other for? We're seeing the stats come up right now. Right here, we're seeing about 57% of you have known me for a month or less. About 3 months or less is about 11%. 6 months is 14%. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, Dan, let's swipe that away. Thank you. So easily, about 80% of you have known me for less than 6 months. Let's deepen our connection. Okay. I want to give you a bit of context on me before we kick things off. So let me ask you another question. What do you think the 13-year-old version of Vinn wanted more than anything? What do you think I wanted when I was a kid? Tell me in chat. What do you think I wanted? Let me know. So attention. People said money. I saw a lot of people saying girls. Correct. More than anything, when I was 13, I wanted a girlfriend. And I remember asking my dad, thank you, Nathan. I remember asking my dad, I said, Dad, you've got mum, you've got a girlfriend. How do I, actually, mum and girlfriend were the same person, just to clarify. So I said, Dad, you've got mum. How did you find love? And then my dad looks at me with all the wisdom in his eyes. 60-year-old Vietnamese man looks at me and says, okay, boy, good question, man. Okay, you ready? No the money, no the honey. And I thought, damn it, that makes sense. It even rhymes like Eminem. So to me, when I was 13 years old, I looked up to Dad. So Dad said, you've got to make money to find love. So to me, how was I going to make money as a 13-year-old? When I was 13, it's going to give away my age, but it was the year 2000. Exactly. It was the year 2000 when I was 13. And if you can't do the math, well, I'm turning 39 this year. I'm getting old. So when I was 13, there was an interesting website called eBay that was slowly emerging. Now, nobody knew what eBay was except the cool kids like the nerds like me. And I knew what eBay was. I was playing around on eBay, searching for things to be able to buy and sell. My first entrepreneurial venture, I just thought, buy low, sell high. And then as I was exploring eBay, I discovered this product called an MP3 player. There was this thing you could buy that you put music on. And at the time in the world, in the year 2000, everybody used Walkmans and Discmans still. Like the Discmans, you put a CD inside it. Every time you walk, the music skips, right? It was a terrible music device. So I thought, oh my goodness, I could buy this MP3 player. And instead of just fitting 20 songs, I could fit 50 songs. This is crazy. I could buy them and then sell them to my friends for double the price. Genius. So then as I started to go through the process of buying it, I then realized eBay required me to have this thing called a credit card. I've never come across a credit card before in my entire life. So I didn't know what it was. So I started to look for this thing called a credit card, and I realized that mum and dad had one. So I thought, this is easy. And then as I studied this credit card thing before I borrowed it from mum and dad without them knowing, I learned a few things. You don't even need the physical card to go buy things online. All you need is the numbers that are on the card. Second thing I learned. Oh, what's interesting is mum and dad get the bill for the credit card at the end of every single month. So that means if I buy something at the beginning, mum and dad won't find out to the end of the month. Meaning, buy something at the beginning and you've got a 4-week window of opportunity. Interesting. Next thing I started to notice, anytime you made a purchase that seems suspicious, the bank calls the house to check if the transaction was genuine. Guess who was the only English-speaking person in the household? This was the perfect storm. I thought this credit card thing was made for me to use online. So it was fate, it was an omen. So I took the credit card, connected to the internet via dial-up. Some of you don't even know what that is. Anyway, so I connected to the internet, ebay.com.au, because I'm from Australia. Find MP3 players, rank them from cheapest to most expensive. Change the quantity from 1 to 10, come on. Check out. I've just spent more than $1,500 on mum and dad's credit card. I thought, oh my goodness, this is the most exciting thing in the world. I can't wait till they arrive. But then very quickly, this feeling of explosive diarrhea hits because I remember my parents are Asian, right? And then very quickly, you forget that again because you're 13 and you think you'll live forever. Wildest thing happens. A week later, these MP3 players arrive. A week after that, I managed to sell every single one at school to my friends. I'd made $3,000 in that week, and I wasn't doing drugs. I thought my parents were going to be so proud. I thought dad and mum would look at all my uncles and aunties and say to them, oh my God, my boy sold a good man. Your daughter, your son, they're good like mine. Huh? Huh? They're good like mine, huh? I just thought surely they were just going to praise me as being the most wonderful child in the Jiang family. But then something happened that was slightly different, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. Switch angles to be fancy. Because I was sitting in my bedroom, because it got to the end of the month, and I was sitting in my bedroom, and I had all the cash stuffed into a Lego tin box. So this beautiful Lego tin box filled with $5 notes, $10 notes, coins, because kids didn't have that much money. And then I had all the money there, sitting there waiting to die, because I knew that this was the day that the mail would arrive, and I could hear in the kitchen Mum starting to freak out because she was looking at the credit card statement. Someone had spent $1,500, okay? So she freaks out. I was the only child at the time, so surely it was me. So she freaks out. She starts storming down the hallway. Dad just follows whatever Mum does because he doesn't know what's happening half the time. So Mum's storming down the hallway. It's as if she kicks down my door. I sit there, I see my mum's face, and I'm thinking I'm going to die. So as a defense mechanism, I grab the money and I throw it. So there was this moment where money was kind of fluttering all over the place. Mum then went from angry to more angry because she thought I was doing drugs. And then Dad went from angry to, what the hell, man? This so good, boy. Give me the high five, man. Give me the high five. Dad's trying to high five me. Mum's got a fly swat reverse trying to smack me on the bottom. That was my introduction into entrepreneurship. It was crazy. It was just this crazy mix of emotions, of excitement and what the hell is going on, and my ass is sore, Dad's being weird. And that night as I was laying in bed with no money because my parents then took it from me, I started to have this thought that I could not shake. There was one specific thought that I could not shake for the life of me. And the thought was this. When I was 13, there were rules to my reality. There were laws in my reality. And one of the rules and laws in my reality at 13 was that as a 13-year-old kid, anytime I got a job, I never got paid more than $10 an hour. Right? So during school holidays, I'd work on the farms and pick cherries and whatnot. The max I would be paid is $10 an hour. So that was one of the rules of my reality. As a 13-year-old kid, you can't make more than $10 an hour. But the thought that I could not shake for the life of me. I laid there for hours on end thinking, hang on a second. The last week, I'd made $3,000 in that week. I talked to my friends for no more than 10 hours. 3,000 divided by 10 hours. I made $300 an hour. How can this happen when these are the rules of this reality? I broke the rules of the reality and I learned one of the most powerful lessons that have allowed me to build the life that I have and the success I've achieved. And the lesson is this. I hope you take this away. The lesson is reality is negotiable. We were so inspired by this, we created signs for this little lesson here all around our office. Reality is truly negotiable. And if you think about the world we live in now, more than ever, reality is negotiable. Look at what we're doing right now. Look at you. You're sitting in some corner of the world, joining thousands of other people from all corners of the world as we all learn together this evening in Australia on November the 14th. Crazy, right? Right? And let me ask you this. What skill do you use to negotiate the reality you desire? Tell me in chat. What skill do you... Yes! Randy, yes! It's the skill of communication. That's it. And thank you, Tang. It is live. That's why you can see your chat over there, which is funny. People always think it's not live. But that's the crazy thing, isn't it? It's the skill of communication that allows us to negotiate whatever reality we desire. And I mean, think about this. The job that you're in right now, what skill do you use at the job interview to be able to negotiate whether or not you get the job? When you're going out on a date with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, what skill do you use at the dinner table to be able to negotiate and share the value you have as a partner? That's why as you level up your communication skills, you level up the life that you can negotiate. I want to share with you this one example of one of my students very early on. This is one of my students, her name's Rachel. When she first came to me, she really believed that she was not able to negotiate her reality, that it was impossible for her to get this promotion, this senior position she's trying to go for. For years, she's been going for this promotion. For years, she gets passed up, and she couldn't understand why, to the point where she started to just believe that, no, my reality is fixed. I cannot negotiate the reality that I desire. And she didn't understand that it was her communication skills letting her down. Let me show you a video when she first came to me. I want you to see where her communication skills was when she first started. Have a look at this. Have a look at this. Such an inspiring story.
I have a job that I love and a fulfilling work. I really have found that I'm giving back to the world. And I'm so thankful that I took that step, and now that $75 seems pretty well spent.
Punchline. Oh, no. Yeah, good. And the punchline was the shoes, what, your life?
Oh, the shoes changed my life.
No, the shoes saved your life. Boom. Big round of applause again. That was great. And you see, it was great because she dared to get on stage, even though she didn't feel confident. She took action anyway. So that's where she was, right? She was this brilliant engineer. Like, her technical skills were a 10 out of 10, but her communication skills were a 3 out of 10. So if your technical skills are a 10 out of 10, but your communication skills are a 3 out of 10, do you think the world perceives you to be a 10 out of 10 or 3 out of 10? Tell me in chat. Which one? Yeah, you're all right. It's a 3 out of 10. That's why she didn't get that promotion, because as far as the world was concerned, her workplace was concerned, she was here. Whereas in actual reality, her technical skills were here. I want you to see what happened the moment she started to improve her communication skills. Contrast the difference. This was her just weeks later. Have a look at this.
It was about 1.5 years after I graduated from college. I was working my first job as an engineer. I was asking myself questions like, what am I giving back to the world? What is it all about? What is the meaning of life? You know, totally normal questions that one asks oneself after you buy a pair of footwear. And yes, I am still wearing that same pair of dirty, stinky Chaco sandals. Starting to think that maybe that was a pretty good deal after all. Those shoes saved my life.
Big round of applause, yeah! Oh, I love this, and thank you for all your kind words in chat. Most of you are like, oh my God, is it the same person? She is amazing, wow. It's so beautiful to see, isn't it? That's what happens when you start to improve your communication skills. The way you're reacting to her, the world starts to react to you in the same way that you're reacting to her. Now, what happened after this was fascinating, because after I was able to help Rachel achieve this level of communication, and again, it just took her weeks to achieve this, her organization was so impressed with what I did with her, they flew me out to Washington, D.C. to train their entire organization. And at the end of that workshop, Rachel couldn't wait to run up to me to tell me something beautiful that had happened at work. And my videographer somehow captured this beautiful moment, and I'm going to share it with you to round out the story. Have a look at what she says to me at the end of that workshop. Have a look at this.
Thank you for everything.
Oh, my pleasure.
Since the last workshop, I got a promotion.
High five! You got a promotion?
Yeah.
Oh, kick-ass!
And so many people have commented on, like, you just feel so much more comfortable.
She got a promotion! It's so cool because once again, I hope this shows you that you may be technically brilliant with what you do, but if your communications are not up to that, people won't be able to recognize that brilliance. The moment Rachel improved her communication skills, the world was now able to see the brilliance that she has inside. Just like with what happens when you improve your communication skills. After that, reality becomes negotiable. She wanted to negotiate the reality where she was able to get into that senior position, grow in her career, and she's grown so much more since. But reality is only negotiable as you learn the skill that allows you to negotiate the reality you desire, which is the skill of communication. That's why I'm so proud of you for being here, because in the next 2 hours, we're about to deep dive into some of the most powerful communication lessons that's going to help you do the exact same thing. So I'm going to make you a few promises as we begin. The first promise is that we are going to dive deeply into 3 of the most powerful communication frameworks that's going to elevate how you show up in every single conversation personally and, maybe more importantly for you, professionally. Now, second promise I'm going to make you. Every single person who comes along to this and is here at the end of the class, if you are still here by the end of the 2-hour mark, I'm going to give every single attendee a free copy of my speaker's playbook, which is 57 of the most frequently asked questions when people join my programs. I answer it in detail and you will get a copy of that because I want you to be a part of the journey with us as we help you improve your communication skills. Next thing that I promise, third promise. So after you learn all the content, after we give away the free workbook there, everybody's going to get a copy of, then we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to do a really big giveaway where we pick 2 live winners who's here with us right now to win one of these DJI Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Packs. Because the Creator Pack is way better than the original pack. We spent more money on this. But I mean, why do we want to give these away? Well, because as we help you improve your communication skills, we really hope you'll be inspired to start creating content so that you can spread the lessons that you've learned in your life that has helped you become the person that you are. So you can create content and send out good ripples of change. That's why we want to be able to pick 2 winners who you got to be here live with us on this 14th of November. Otherwise, well, you can't win it. And then after we do all of this, then after that, for those of you who are ready and you want to join me and start learning with me more formally, then I'm going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to tell you about my stage programs and what it's like learning with me. I'll tell you about all the different stage programs that we've got and the special Black Friday opportunity that we have. So Dan, let's pause chat just for a moment. And as we've paused chat, we've dropped a link there. Some of you might be ready to join us now. Some of you have been learning from me for the last year plus already, as I saw from the first poll. So if you've learned with me on YouTube, on Instagram for the last year, and you're ready to take it more seriously moving into 2026, then just click that link there. We've got a special Black Friday opportunity if you do choose to join us. It's a limited opportunity. Otherwise, how's that sound for a class? I mean, right at the end, there's one more thing we're going to do, because right at the end, we're going to do some Q&A. We're going to do some Q&A as well. So we've got a jam-packed 2 hours. And I love it. People are like, that sounds perfect. Let's go. Well, then what are we waiting for? Well, you are waiting for something. For Vinn to just take a quick sip of water. Please take a sip of your beverage. Take your pens and your pads out or open a new notepad. Let's begin and let's start learning. Here we go. Thank you, Kate Irvine, for saying you're very generous, Vinn. Thank you. And thank you to you too for being here on this Friday afternoon. Let's go. Now, as we're about to get into this, what we're about to learn now is we're about to learn communication frameworks. Now, communication frameworks are very important because for 27 years of my life, I did not know what a communication framework was. So I was walking through life oblivious to the fact that communication frameworks exist. And what that meant was, because I didn't know what communication frameworks were, I used to ramble all the time. And when people ask me a question, I freak out. And I do these weird, awkward pauses. And then when I answer in a terrible way that just destroys my credibility. Can any of you relate to that? Can any of you relate to that? I mean, do you ever get a question asked and then you just start to freak out and panic? And a lot of people saying yes right now in chat. It's all right. This communication frameworks that I'm about to teach you, these communication frameworks, they are going to change that forever. All right. Now, the first framework we're going to learn about is called PARA. P-A-R-A. Start taking your notepads out. Now, this is an acronym, okay? This is an acronym that stands for, actually, before I tell you what it stands for, I need you to really understand the issue with just winging it in life. Every time you talk, especially at work, okay, or even in social settings, most people just wing it their entire lives. There's no structure to what they say. Therefore, people don't want to listen to them because it's incoherent, it's not clear, and they ramble. Right? So say, for example, a topic that my friends and I love talking about, so we geek out on this all the time, is we love talking about high performance. Okay? Do you see that last part of performance? Looks like a squiggle? Yeah, I should have been a doctor. My mum would have been so proud. But it's high performance. That's what that says. Now, let's say we're in a social setting, because I'm going to teach you how to use all of these frameworks in a social setting and then in a professional setting to really help you get the most out of these frameworks, okay? Social setting so you can connect with your friends more deeply, professional setting so you can get more career advancement, all right? We'll do 2 scenarios. But for now, we're going to talk about it in a social setting. So say, for example, you're talking to your friends in a social setting and they're talking about high performance and you wanted to jump in, but you don't have frameworks. So for 27 years of my life, I would do this when I'm talking with my friends. So I want to talk about high performance. They're all talking. I politely wait for a pause and then I go, oh, I want to talk about high performance too. Do you know the most important thing to do with high performance is that you've got to make sure you rest? I didn't think that rest was a component for high performance, but beyond rest, did you also know that the things you eat also can lead to high performance or not lead to high performance? For example, if you eat a really carb-heavy meal right before lunch, and then after that you go through lunch and then all of your energy starts to go into the digestive system, and then after that you start to not be able to think properly, and then you fall sleep during the session after lunch and the meeting, but then not just rest and also types of food you eat. Do you also know that there are so many apps now that can help us time block? Do you know that the use of a calendar is really critical because as you time block, you become more productive? Not to mention the apps in AI. And then I go blah, 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 blah. I'm talking all over the place. Absolutely, like LS says, there's no organization. Whereas I want you to contrast what happens the moment I use a framework. So watch what happens. This framework is called PARA. The P stands for point. The A stands for action. The R stands for result. And the A stands for ask. So P, A, R, oh, let me rub that out. R, A. PARA, okay? Now, watch what happens. I'll explain to you exactly how it's used. The point means just make one singular point. And then based on that point, what action did you take? Then based on the action you took, well, tell us about the result you achieved as a result of the action, right? And then ask a question back into the group, because great communicators and great conversationalists don't hog the microphone. They give the conversation back to the group. I'll show you exactly what this looks and sounds like, all right? Your friends are talking about high performance. You take a deep breath, you wait for a pause to be polite, and then you join the conversation and you say this, you go, point. You know, I never realized the importance of rest when it comes to high performance. I've started in the last 2 weeks to really finish work at 5. Monday to Friday, I finish work at 5, I don't stay a minute longer. And I've also started to sleep at 8:30. I know that's crazy, but I've been doing that. And the wild result that I have achieved is that, first of all, I can't believe that my quality of work has improved significantly. But second of all, unexpectedly, my quality of life has improved. Can I ask you all a question about high performance? How do you all incorporate rest on a weekly basis? How clean was that? It was clear, it was concise, it was coherent. Do you notice that? And when you speak like this, people love listening to you. Whereas a lot of the times back then when I used to speak without frameworks, people used to yawn, they used to disengage, and I could tell because they went straight to their phones. And I could tell just by looking at their face that they weren't even listening to me anymore. But it wasn't because they didn't care about me, it's because my communication style was not engaging, was unorganized, and was all over the place. Whereas the moment I start to organize my thoughts clearly by using a framework, it solved so many problems. But let's really deep dive into this in a work setting, okay? Because in a work setting, this is even more important, all right? And I'll tell you why. There's a very important word you need to become aware of, and the word is called visibility. Visibility. Now, when you think of the word visibility, this is what I want you to think of. Let me find a color orange here to do this, okay? Lovely. So we got the color. It looks like my screen has frozen. Oh, no, that's fine. All right, perfect. Now, visibility. What is visibility? Well, let me tell you what visibility is. In an organization, at the workplace, I know that you're probably here because you want to improve your chances of career progress and career growth. And in an organization, the person who has the most visibility is the person who contributes the most in the most effective way during a team meeting, right? Have you ever had this happen before? You're sitting in a team meeting and your team's talking about a topic, you get an idea and you go, oh, I want to share that. But then very quickly your brain goes, wait, I don't want to sound like an idiot. And tell me in chat if you relate to this. And then you go, wait, so how should I share this? What point should I start with first? Hang on. Or maybe I shouldn't say anything because if I say it wrong, my manager's going to think I'm an idiot. And then while you're in your head, good old Sam over here, Sam starts talking. Everyone starts going, oh, Sam, that's fantastic, Sam, great idea. And you're sitting there going, damn it, I thought of that 10 minutes before Sam said that. But you didn't say anything because you didn't know how to structure your thoughts. So therefore, you have low levels of visibility. But Sam, because he shared the thought that you were thinking, he has high levels of visibility. So what happens in that instance is that in that reality that I just painted, when it comes time for promotion, do you think the most visible person gets promoted or the most invisible person gets promoted? It's a redundant question, right? Yeah, but it's the most visible person. Yes, thank you. It's the most visible person. They are the one who always gets promoted. And then what do? You go, damn it, why did Sam get promoted? I'm way smarter than Sam. But it's because Sam is the most visible. Whereas unfortunately, you've become that invisible genius where you're stuck in this position. Your technical skills are way better than Sam's, but your communication skills are down here. That's why frameworks is one of the solutions that allows you to become visible, right? So let me show you exactly how this works again in a professional setting, because I really want you to get this. I don't want you to walk away from this training with me without being able to master this. So let's really deep dive into this, okay? You ready? So let's learn about it again in the context of a professional setting. So let's say, for example, you're at work. The team's talking about, everybody's talking about AI and automations right now. Okay, so AI and automations. Let's say we're talking about that now. Now, if we're talking about AI and automations, let me show you how para works when you're doing this, right? Now, the thing is, I need to give you another example of what I used to do at work, because I really want to make this so annoying for you when I do it wrong that you can't unsee this and you can't unexperience this. Before para, if the team was talking about AI, three things would happen. Three things could happen. The first thing is, like you experienced before, I end up saying nothing because I don't know how to structure my thought, so I'm invisible. The second thing that happens is I would speak without frameworks, and then I damage my credibility at work because I'm just all over the place, and then they labeled me as a scatterbrain. The third situation that could happen is if you speak with a framework to then increase your visibility. Okay, so those are the three scenarios that could happen. They're the three realities, right? Hopefully you pick the third one where you master this framework. So again, without frameworks, your team's talking about AI, you ramble and you go, oh yeah, I've started using ChatGPT, and actually, it's actually really good, but I also would recommend that we don't just use ChatGPT, we also use Claude. But then on top of that, I'll also suggest that we also try Perplexity, because it's important to have a mix of things. ChatGPT is better for creativity, Perplexity is better for facts and figures. But did you know prompting is a really important thing? You can't just do a prompt that most people do, like make this better, make this funny, make this more professional. No. We need to learn the art of master prompts. But beyond master prompts, can I also share something else with you as well? And then you go blah, 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 blah. And then people just really start to disconnect. They've stopped listening to you, even though what you're sharing is amazing. They've stopped listening. So now you're not invisible, but you're visible in a really bad way, in a damaging way, right? Watch what happens when you use a framework. So say we're talking about automations here. I'm going to use a very simple automation so that we've all probably come across this before, okay? So here we go. Your team's talking about automations to save time, and then you've got an idea now. Instead of being stuck in your head, you now can use this framework and quickly frame what you're going to say almost immediately. So you take a breath, wait for a pause. Susan, I'd love to share with you a simple piece of technology, very simple piece of technology called Calendly. Now, I can tell you that in the last 2 weeks, normally it would take us 10 emails back and forth with our international customers to set up a meeting time. But now, since the last 2 weeks of me using Calendly, instead of 10 emails back and forth, I send one email to our international customers and we lock in a time. I've been able to save more than 10 hours in the last 2 weeks just by using this simple calendar automation system and calendar booking system. Susan, can I ask you, would it be useful for me to onboard our 10 sales reps on this? Because I've noticed none of them are on it. Would that be useful, Susan? Susan over here goes, oh my goodness, that is amazing. Sam, hey Sam, why didn't you think of that? Hey, and Dan, thank you for that GIF there. Thank you. No, that wasn't distracting. That was the correct GIF for you to use there. But isn't that crazy? Did you see what I just did? Within seconds, I was able to structure my thoughts and turn them into words. Within 45 seconds, I was able to make a clear point, share the action that I took, share the result that I achieved, and then ask the question back into my team. And I did it in a way that was clear, coherent, and also concise. And when you speak like this, you might not realize this if you haven't been using frameworks on a daily basis. But what this does is it makes you seem more credible. It also increases your perceived level of competence. I really mean this. Because when you're unsure and you're talking all over the place, people associate that with you not being competent. People associate that with you not being credible. It's wild. And then they look at you as someone who, oh no, they don't have good leadership potential. All because you don't know how to structure what you say. you start to use frameworks on a daily basis, you will start to shift the way the world perceives your competence, your credibility, and your capability. Can you see how powerful this is? Can you see how by using this, you can increase your visibility to be able to negotiate the reality you desire to help you with your career progress? I love it. I see Lance is like, wow, very powerful. Aaliyah's like, yes, I can see this. Brilliant. I'm so glad that and Jennifer just said, I'm invisible. Not anymore, Jennifer, because once you learn the art of using frameworks, you will now be visible in the most beautiful way possible. All right, you ready for us to carry on? Because next what I'm going to share with you is this. For the longest time, I used to think I was stuck being a rambler. I thought I was stuck being a rambler, that I'm going to be someone who rambles for the rest of my life, as if the way you communicate is permanent. It's not. Because if you ramble, learn frameworks, fixes it. If you are awkward and have silences when people ask you a question under pressure, learn frameworks, solves it. Some of my students ask me the same thing. They're like, oh no, Vinn, I feel like I'm stuck with my voice. How many of you connect with that? How many of you don't like the sound of your voice? Tell me in chat. Type yes if that's the case, if you don't like the sound of your voice. Right? So a lot of people are like, yes, me. Some people are saying no. Hey, that's great. I'm glad you don't hate your voice. But the thing is, a lot of people don't like the sound of their voice. Like this student of mine right here. I'll play you a quick video. He goes, oh, Vinn, I don't like the sound of my voice. It's so monotone. It's got no energy in it. And have a look at this. This is him before he started with us.
As the baseball season progressed, I was not as in tune to my grades as I should be. Anytime my friends would call and wanted to go out, regardless of what day of the week, I would go. We would have fun.
And the thing is, that's my student Brad, and he started making assumptions as if, oh, I'm stuck with my voice. This is the voice I'm going to have for the rest of my life. I'm like, Brad, no. No, the way you speak and the sound you create is just a series of behaviors. You can change that tomorrow if you wanted to. So I gave him a bunch of vocal exercises, and watch what voice he unlocked within weeks of practicing this. Have a look at this. Have a look at this. It's crazy.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. Instead of doing a video super late at night, I'm doing it early in the morning. Things are getting better, improving every day. It has taken me a long time to understand that, and I'm still struggling. But you got to be willing. Put yourself out there. Ask for help, ask for guidance, and the next thing is apply it.
And he's exactly right. He's been learning all this content, but he hasn't been applying the lessons. And the moment he started to apply the step-by-step techniques we taught him in the stage programs, he was able to just immediately shift his voice. Like, I used to think I was stuck being a rambler. You're not stuck being a rambler. You learn frameworks. You're not stuck with your voice. You learn different vocal techniques, and you're able to change the way you show up with your voice. And then let me ask you another question, because I really want to dig at this belief here that you're stuck. How many of you associate yourself with being shy or see yourself as being someone shy? Let me know in chat. Okay, so a lot of people are saying, me, I see this. Okay, thank you. And hey, thanks for your vulnerability. I appreciate you being real with me. Let me show you this video here. Here's one of my students that is like you, and she also feels like she's somebody who's shy. So let me play the video for you first. This is her. Have a look at this.
And I'm really excited about that, getting clarity around what my message is.
And when she first came to me, she said that she's shy as if it's something permanent. Well, can I say something about shyness to you that is going to forever change the way you think about shyness? I'm going to say this very carefully. I'm going to say it very slowly. Listen to this very carefully, okay? For all of those of you who just said you are shy, listen to this very carefully. The reason you are so good at being shy is because you've been practicing shy behaviors for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life. That's why you're so good and consistent with it. You become what you practice, and you've been practicing shy. Watch what happened when I got my student there, Lynn, to practice confident behaviors. Watch what happened.
Thank you in advance for your feedback. I see the bigger version of me. So Vinn, thank you so much.
Do you see the difference? She was great at being shy. They're just a series of behaviors that she's been practicing and repeating her entire life. The moment she joined us and started to learn the new behaviors, like you're learning now, she was able to unlock the bigger version of her. There's a bigger version of you too that exists. And I want to say something to you, and I really mean this. I hope you allow these words I'm about to say to reach your heart, not just your mind. Don't be so attached to who you are in the present you don't give the future version of you a chance. Again, don't be so attached to the shy behaviors of the present that you don't give that confident version of you in the future a chance. All right, you ready for the next framework? You ready to dive in? Drop a big yes, and I'm just going to grab a sip of water, and then we'll go. Oh, Monica's like, yes, all caps. I love it, Monica. Let's go. The second framework we're about to dive into, this framework is going to allow you to answer questions on the spot while under pressure. Have you had those moments where you get asked a question in a job interview and then you freeze up and you're like, no, and then you later realize that that was the reason you most likely missed out on the job because you answered a question terribly? Here's the most painful part. You knew the answer. You knew the answer. But because you answered it terribly, it made it seem as if you didn't know. Once you learn this framework, you will never be stuck in that situation ever again. You ready for you're going to love, I use this one every single day. And the second framework is, my screen is being funny. Let me just do this here. Number 2. The second framework is called 3, 2, 1. All right, let's do this. Now, this is a numerical framework. This one works different to para. When you think about para as a framework, this one you have to use every single component of para for it to be effective. 3, 2, 1, the numerical framework, this one is modular. So you just use one part of it. You don't use all 3 in sequence, okay? So what it stands for is 3 steps, 2 types, and the one thing. Okay? 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to show you how it works, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you first. Again, I'm going to show you how to use it in a social setting, then I'll teach you how to use it in a professional setting. All right. Now here's the thing I'm going to ask you. I need you to give me a random topic because I need you to just throw a situation at me, and then I'm going to start to use 3, 2, 1 for you. So drop a random topic. It's the sandwiches I just saw pop in. What else do we have? Mushrooms. We've got tiger. We've got physics. We've got coffee. What else we got coming up here? Cat food. I love this. All right, so we've got quite a few here. Interesting. Let's let it go. Cool, cool, cool. All right, try to pick something. I'll go with top 3. We're not going to do weather. Weather's terrible. All right, Dan, I might go with, I'm seeing a lot of people type food here as well. We're getting nearly ready for dinner. So I'm going to go with food, nutrition. I just saw food pop up there. All right, cool, cool, cool. Chocolate, right? Food. Let's just do that. All right, cool. Let's wipe it away. All right, let's go with, I saw lots of chocolate there as well. I love it. Let's go with food, all right? Everyone's getting hungry. It's almost dinner time. So watch what happens. Oh, my whiteboard is being so weird. Food. Dan, just quick note, we might have to replace these 2 screens and use that screen over here instead. Okay, cool. So food. We're going to go with food. And as we go with food, let me show you how this framework works. And the coolest thing about this framework is that, like I said to you, it's modular, right? So this is the first part of the module, this is the second part of the module, and this is the third part of the module. So it's extremely modular. And you don't use all of it in sequence. You just pick one, okay? So say, for example, if I was to talk about food, again, if I didn't have this framework, the brain goes all over the place. So what the brain does is the brain does this. So if you just said, hey, Vinn, can you talk about food? I'll go, yeah, I can talk about food. You know, like, you've got vegetarians who don't eat meat. You've got the opposite of vegetarians who are carnivores, who only eat meat. And you've got pescatarians, for example, people who are on the Mediterranean diet. And outside of diet, I mean, I can still keep talking about food because there's also food that's genetically modified. And then there's organic food. And they say that genetically modified foods are not good for you. There's also people who claim that certain foods are too high in sugars, and you should be careful of that, kind of like apple juice, because you shouldn't drink apple juice, but you should eat an apple because it comes with the fiber. You know, other things about food as well is like cooking. I think cooking's really important. People eat out too much these days. And then Saeed just said, please stop. You've been in situations like this daily, where you speak to someone and you're like, oh my goodness, please stop. Why are you still going? And what you don't realize is that not only does that person do it, there are times when you do this too. But once you learn these frameworks, it stops you right there and then for the remainder of your life. And you don't do this anymore once you master these skills. So watch what happens now. So if I'm talking about food, Watch how delicious this is when I use the framework. So let's say, for example, I pick this part of the framework, okay? I'll use this part of the framework first. 3 steps to good food. Okay, cool. Watch what happens here. I believe there are 3 steps to cooking great food. Step number 1 is get a good recipe from a great chef. One of the biggest errors that people make is they just put random ingredients together, they cook it and they taste it and it's terrible. And they go, oh, I can't cook, I'm a terrible chef, I'm a terrible cook. No, you just followed a terrible random recipe. Get a recipe from a great chef, start with success in mind. Second step to cooking great food is prepare the ingredients before you need them. Most people just throw in the chicken, start cooking it, going, oh crap, I need garlic. They go, they cut the garlic, they turn around, chicken's burnt. Oh, I'm a bad cook, I shouldn't cook ever again. No, you're not a bad cook. You just didn't prepare the ingredients before you needed it. Get a great recipe, step 1. Step 2, prepare the ingredients before you need them. Step 3, oh, it's easy. Turn on some music, enjoy the process, and unleash the inner chef that you are. Done. Clean, clear, created on the spot with you, on the fly. Thank you, Dan. That's a wonderful GIF there. And for those of you who don't think it's pronounced GIF, it is. It's not a GIF, it's a GIF. Is it a GIF-raff? No, it's a giraffe. There you go. That ends that. So now, for example, I'm going to use the second module of this framework. So now I'm going to use this module here. All right, so now I'll say 2 types, and I'll create this in the moment with you. Here we go. I believe in this life there are 2 types of food. The first type of food is the food we eat, and that nourishes our body. But then I find in life we tend to neglect the second type of food. And the second type of food is the food we eat and consume that nourishes our mind. That's the books that we read, the classes that we attend. We often feed the body and we forget to feed the mind. I find that in this life, to be successful, we need to feed both. Clear, concise, levels up my perceived credibility, doesn't it? Doesn't it make me seem more competent when I speak in that way? Whereas when I ramble and I'm all over the place, do you perceive me as being a leader? Whereas leaders, they're clear, they're concise, and they're charismatic, right? That comes from being precise. I'll show you one more. This is me using the last part of the framework. So look at this part of the framework, okay? All right, cool. The one thing I love most about food is the great conversations that happen over the dinner table. When you have good food and good company and great conversations, the connection there is what society is yearning the most. But it all starts with good food. That's it. It's just clean, right? Thank you, Dan. The GIFs are getting better and better every time. I love it. But that's the power of frameworks. Whereas before, like the first time, I'm just all over the place. And even when you do this in a social setting, it drives your friends crazy. It drives the people you hang out with crazy. But when you do this, and you do this consistently, it starts to get people to crave you talking. They yearn for you to speak because they go, oh, I can't wait till Vinn talks. Or I can't wait till Stephen talks. Or I can't wait till Mary talks. Because every time they say something, it's profound, it's elegant. And that profoundness and that elegance comes from its level of precision, its level of clarity and cohesion. Now, be honest with me. Be absolutely honest with me. Did you sit there and think to yourself, my goodness, Vinn, you're amazing at this. You took a second and you got a reply. You thought about it for 2 seconds and you somehow came up with this brilliance. You're great at this, Vinn, but I can't do this. Be honest and be vulnerable with me. Did you doubt yourself? Yeah, okay, so a lot of people are like, yeah, you're amazing, but I can't do it. Well, that is a load of nonsense. I'm going to call you out on your brain's BS right now. You are far more capable than you think, and I'm going to prove to you that you are wrong. I'm going to prove to you that I'm not as amazing as you think. I'm going to prove to you that your brain always fools you into thinking you can't do something, so then your brain doesn't have to do anything. That's the most beautiful thing about saying, oh, someone else is great. That's the most beautiful thing about that, is then you don't have to do anything. So stop tricking yourself into not being a better communicator. I'm going to prove to you that you're more amazing than you think. Not doing it to be inspirational, but doing it to bloody state the facts. So I want to prove it to you right now. You ready? I'm going to give you a random topic, and this was probably the most requested topic, so you can have it. So here's the thing. I'm going to give you a random topic, and then in a moment, you have to use one part of the framework and apply it to this random word. So you just pick one part of the framework, one module, just pick one, okay? The random word I'm going to give you is travel, the one that you all picked yourselves. So travel, That's your random topic. Go for it. And you've got to pick 3 steps to travel are and then type it in chat. Type all of it out. Or if there are 2 types of travel, tell me what the 2 types are. Type it in chat. Or the one thing to travel is, and then finish that sentence. Go for it. Do that for me. All right, let's go. So you got to go, the one thing about travel is, fill out the blank. Or you go 2 types of travel and then list the 2 things. Or 3 steps to travel and then list the 3 steps. Go for it. Oh, thank you, Dan. I love this one. Okay, this is Alexi says, the one thing I love about travel is being able to experience new cultures. Oh, there you go, Alexi. Beautiful. Dan, is there another one there? Dan's going to post another one for me, just because chat's going too crazy for me to be able to spot one. Grant says, no, not Grant. Grant said only one thing. That's okay. Let's go, Sam. All right. We go Sam. Sam says, there are 2 main types of travel, domestic and international. Oh, I love that. Clean, concise, clear. All right, one more, Dan. Doesn't matter which one it is. We've got here. Hannah says, the one thing I love about travel is the way I'm able to see the world in a new way. Oh, I love that. It's so true. Travel changes your perspective of life. Now, I'm so proud of you. We have thousands of people doing this. But can I ask you another question now? Let me ask you a question. Did it take you 5 minutes to apply this lesson? Did it take your brain 30 minutes or an hour to come up with an idea or a thing to say? Or did you do it in seconds? Did it take hours or did it take seconds? Seconds! It came up in seconds. You see, you were so quick to judge your ability. You were so quick to say, oh, Vinn, you're amazing at this, but I can't do it. But then the moment I got you to try, thousands of you got it within seconds. Was it easy or was it hard? It was easy. Improving your communication skills is actually easy. Most people just fool themselves into thinking it's hard. And do you know why it's useful for your brain to fool yourself into thinking it's hard? Because if something is hard, well, then you don't have to do it. But the moment you do it, it's easy. Now tell me, once you did it, then how did it feel? How did it feel? How did you feel when you did it? Let's anchor that feeling. How did it feel once you did it? It was fun. It feels good. It was great. It was easy. I love that you said easy peasy. I felt confident. I felt accomplished. I felt satisfied. I felt inspired. I felt energized. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, someone added. I love that. I was mind blown. You see, this is the feeling of you unlocking your potential. For far too long, you've allowed your potential to lie dormant. The feeling you're feeling right now as you apply this knowledge is you unlocking the potential that lives within. Because as you start to improve your communication skills, what you're doing is you're unlocking the potential that lies within. Because again, often you know the answer. You just didn't know how to structure it and you didn't know how to turn it into words. Crazy, right? Now here's the thing. Let me show you how to use it in a professional setting. Do you want to learn how to use this, say, in a job interview? Would that be useful for you? Would it be useful to learn how to use this? Okay, yes, I've seen the yeses come through. Okay, let's do it. So again, I need to paint this for you, okay? In a job interview, tell me, what's the first question people always ask? What's that first question everybody always asks? Yes, Sandy, you're correct. Tell me about yourself. So we all know this, but the very first question people ask us in a job interview, it stumps us, doesn't it? Because this is normally what happens. I'll show you. Okay, so I'll walk in to be dramatic. You walk into the job interview and you go, hello, just here for the job interview. Oh, great to see you, Vinn. Have a seat, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Oh, yeah, okay, cool. I totally didn't expect that, even though everyone asks it. That's cool. Well, passions. Let's go there. I love doing archery. A lot of people don't know that, and it's a bit of a strange one. I also love to, I love to do Lego. Probably switch from hobbies now into telling about my family, obviously to connect, because you probably have a family. I've got 2 kids. One of them is actually the age. One of them is 2, and the other one is 8. And the reason we have such a big gap is because we had the first one. We're like, woo, this is really hard. And then it took us a while to have, the next one. And I also love slow cooking. I really enjoy cooking a good brisket in the barbecue. It's great, fantastic. Oh, you're a vegetarian. I also slow cook cauliflower. And you lose them, right? You lose them from the get-go. Whereas I want to show you what happens when I use, let's say, this part of the framework here. All right? I'll show you how to use this part of the framework inside a job interview. And let's dream here, okay? Because so many of you have experienced losing out on a job interview that was your dream job. But if you communicated better, you may have gotten it. Because here's the part that people don't realize. If you made it to the job interview, that means on paper, you were perfect for the role. But when you showed up, your communication skills let you down. So as brilliant as you were on paper, your communication skills let you down and you missed out on that opportunity. But remember, on paper, you looked perfect. So as you improve your communication skills, now you'll be able to go for your dream job and land it. So let's just say one of my dreams, working for Apple as their head of innovation. Imagine that, right? Head of innovation, right? Let's say I was going for that job interview and I was going for that role. And we role play this. So I'm going for that job, let's just pretend we're doing that, and I'll use the one thing. Here we go. So I walk in the job interview, I go, hello, good to see you, here for the interview with Head of Innovation. Vinn, great to see you. Vinn, grab a seat. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we kick things off. Oh, I'd love to. You know, if I had to share with you one thing about me, it'd be that when I was young, I used to be obsessed with magic. I loved magic tricks. And the reason I loved magic so much was not for the main reason most kids love magic, for attention and whatnot. I loved it because magic is just the problem that people can't solve. So magicians just get really good at creating problems that people can't solve. And I started to learn very quickly that with magic, the reason you can't solve the problems magicians present to you is simply because you're looking at the trick from one perspective. And what I quickly learned was that if you start to surround the magician, look at the trick from different perspectives, you'll quickly learn the solution to the madness. So as impossible as something may look, there's always a way. And I've got to tell you, that's exactly why I'm sitting here in this position right now, in this chair, applying for Head of Innovation. I can't wait to bring to you different ways of thinking, different perspectives to help you solve the problems that Apple are facing right now, like a lack of originality. Ooh, did I go too far? Did I go too far? I'm actually a massive Apple fan. They probably would have fired me for that last part. But before I said the last part, they most likely would have hired me. And look at the number of people who are hiring me in chat. Look, I've been hired by like 100 people in chat. That's the power of learning how to use frameworks. You're always ready. It takes you seconds to think of an answer. It doesn't take you hours like you think. When you've got the right structure, it allows you to take the crazy of the brain, distill it through a meaningful framework, and create a meaningful piece of communication. Tell me, yes or no, is that one of the most powerful things you've learned? Right? I spent 27 years of my life missing out on opportunities, losing out on job opportunities, missing out on my dream jobs, because when I showed up, I was this. Year after year after year. I mean, gosh, I don't even want to think about the price you would put on that, the amount of opportunities that I've missed out upon. You ready for the next framework? Let me know. Drop a yes. Let me know if you're ready for the next framework. Let's go. All right, let me take a sip of water. All right, let's go. As we dive into the next one, the next framework that we're going to learn, this one is, so critical in today's day and age. The next one, the third framework, is the mastery cycle. The mastery cycle. I'll do this one in purple, so it's cool. The mastery cycle. Now, when it comes to the mastery cycle, let me draw it out first, and then I'm going to explain to you exactly how to think of this, okay? So you can draw it out as I'm drawing it. The first step in my mastery cycle, this is something I put together, is called try. Oh, let me do this. Try and apply. Next one is review and reflect. And the next one is plan and improve. Okay? Three-step process, this mastery cycle looks like this. And the reason it's a cycle, well, it's because of these arrows. Okay? Perfect. Now let me explain. I want you to draw this out as well. We live in a world now where people are addicted to knowledge acquisition. And I'll prove it to you. We love consuming content, right? So maybe financial freedom, maybe communication skills, maybe just entertainment. But we now have supercomputers and algorithms that are run by a form of artificial intelligence that we've never encountered before, where it's there to learn what you like and it continually shows you content, right? So you just keep consuming and consuming and consuming and consuming. And every now and then you consume something, you go, oh, this is good. This is good. So what do? You save the video. But let me ask you a very vulnerable question, and I ask you to tell me the truth here. When you save the video, what's the intent there? The intent is to watch it again later so you can apply the lesson you learned, right? Well, let me ask you this. When's the last time you went to your saved folder? When's the last time you went to your saved folder? Do you even know where the saved folder is? It's a scary reality to think about, isn't it? The number of people who say never, 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 it's scary. It's because innately we know change and transformation happens when we apply. We know that, that's why we save it. But because the algorithms are so strong now, the brain rot is so strong now, the AI slop is so persuasive now, we've stopped ourselves from applying and we're in a constant perpetual motion where we're stuck just consuming. This is why the world feels more hopeless than ever. So if you do feel hopeless where you are, that hopelessness comes from an addiction to consumption. Whereas all of our students in our stage programs, I re-correct this immediately in our programs. And I immediately get them to apply the first stage of the mastery cycle, which is what? Which is try and apply. I get my students in today's day and world to now become addicted to knowledge acquisition. Because that age-old saying, knowledge is power, is completely wrong. It's nonsense. It's missing one critical word. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So the first step in the mastery cycle is try and apply. So when you learn something and you want to transform, you must immediately try and apply it. That's why in our class today, I've structured the class specifically for this so that I got you to try and apply. And then when you had tried and applied 3, 2, 1, what happened? What feelings did you feel? The moment you applied 3, 2, 1, the moment you applied 3, 2, 1, you felt inspiration, you felt motivation, you felt confident, you felt amazed, you felt good, you felt positive. All of those wonderful feelings in that yellow I highlighted there came as a result of you trying and applying. Whereas in life, so many people wait for inspiration. I'm going to wait until I feel motivated. I'm going to wait until I feel empowered, without realizing that they themselves have the ability to generate inspiration, generate motivation. So the moment you apply and you try something you've just learned, you now generate your own force. You now generate your own momentum. You generate your own inspiration, which kickstarts the momentum. But then you continue the momentum by doing something that the world no longer does. Now, once you tried and applied, and we'll do this together now, you reflect and review. You must reflect and review upon the trying and applying. So we'll do this together. So let's reflect and review. When you tried and applied 3, 2, 1, did you notice in chat, which module did people go for the most? Which module did people try for the most? Tell me, which one? Yes, everyone went for the one thing. So you start to review and reflect. You go, everyone went for the one thing. So let me ask you, why did everybody go for the one thing? Why did everybody go for the one thing? Why? Because Randy says, because it was easy. So you go, oh my goodness, this brain of mine, why do you serve me in such a terrible way? Always picking the path of least resistance. So you go, you know what? I'm catching you up, brain. So because you review and reflect, you get insight. And because you get insight, you push that momentum forward again. And now you plan to improve. So what do? You go, you know what? The brain picked the path of least resistance. Now I'm going to pick the path of most resistance. And I'm going to pick 3 steps. Boom. So you plan something new, and then now what do? You try and apply again. Boom. You try and apply again. That's the next step. Because this is us creating the mastery cycle. So you go through it again here. Now as you go through it again, what do? Well, I'll do it with you. So you go, okay, I said the one thing I love about travel is that it opens up my mind to new perspectives. Okay, I believe there are 3 steps to travel. First step, save some money. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. Second step, go with a friend. Because when you go with a friend, it enhances the experience of the travel. Step 3, go before it's too late. Okay, cool, awesome. So you tried it again and you go, oh, that's good. You try and apply it. Then you review and you reflect. And you go, okay, felt like I was being a bit brief. I felt like I could have said a little more, make it a little more enticing. Cool, plan to improve. What I'm gonna do? Well, you know what? I'm gonna stick with the 3 steps, but I'm gonna add a little more meat to the sizzle. I'm gonna add a little more substance to it. Okay, I'll try and apply again. Watch what happens when you just go through the mastery cycle 2 to 3 times. Okay, you ready? Let's create it with each other in the moment. Okay, so we'll talk about this with travel, all right? That was your topic. Here we go, in 3, 2. I believe there are 3 steps to amazing travel and making it come true. The first step is, well, save money. Do you know how many people have the dream of traveling the world, but it never happens and it just remains a dream and never becomes a reality? Do you know why that happens? Well, because people don't save money. Do you need that pair of shoes? Do you need the fancy watch? Save money, spend it on experiences. Because if you don't save, your dreams of travel will forever remain a dream. Save weekly. Second step, go with a friend. Because it's been proven that going with a friend, experiencing life with a friend, enhances the experience of life. I'll prove it to you. When you're watching a sports game by yourself and your favorite team scores a goal, how do you react? You sit there and you go, go, yeah. When you're with 10 of your friends surrounding you and your favorite team scores a goal, how do you react? Hands in the air, go, that's amazing, high five, and you all freak out. That is proof that spending time with others, experiencing things with others enhances the experience itself. Pick a friend, go with someone. And third, my goodness, so many people wait to live and then end up dying and not living at all. Do you know what most people do when they travel at the ripe old age of 88, 89? Do you know what they do most of the time when they travel? They spend it sleeping. Travel in the most ripe season of your life. Expand your mind, open your thinking. Save money, enhance the experience of life, go with a friend. Go. Go now, in the ripest season. That's it. Oh, and by the way, like and subscribe if you haven't already and turned it into a YouTube video like there right now. That's me going through this framework 3 times. Wild, right? Whereas most people don't even go through it once. They learn something, they'll save it to a save folder and never apply it. That's the power of mastery. Now, I want to show you another example here. This is one of my students, right? And he was very softly spoken in his life. And he goes, Vinn, every time I talk, people yawn and people don't listen to me and I don't know why. I took him through the mastery cycle. So I took him through this mastery cycle, except not with a framework. I took him through the mastery cycle with vocal exercises to unlock his voice. I want you to watch what happens when I take him through the mastery cycle to help him unlock his voice. Check this out. Have a look at this. So cool. Your rate of speech, where do you think that sits default from a 0 to 10?
4. I'd probably got a 4.
Not bad. I would say you're closer to a 3. So the beautiful thing about your voice, Tanzia, is you seem very relaxed while you talk. And the thing is, if we stay here for extended periods of time to mirror you, what can happen is people might look at us as being lower energy, even when we're feeling higher energy. I want you to give me some faster rates of speech. When you go faster, give me a little more volume as well. Because when you combine faster rates of speech with volume, it gives off the vibe of charisma and enthusiasm. You've already mastered softness and sincerity. This is the genre of excitement and enthusiasm. Start nice and calm and then gradually move up with your volume and your rate of speech.
And so when I finished year 12, it was like, yes, I'm done. But then it was like, wait, what do I do from here? I have so many people talking to me being like, hey, you should do this.
More volume.
Hey, you should try computer science, or you should try medicine, or
Good.
you should take a gap year. And I was just so confused.
Slow down, quiet,
And I was thinking, who do I listen to?
speed up, louder,
My friends, my family,
louder.
cousin, uncle, auntie, grandma, the neighbor, dog.
Big round of applause. Yeah, the dog. Very good improv. But do you notice that? He seems full of energy. If you truly want to influence someone, it's not just through your words, Tanzia, it's through the generosity of energy that we give people. And that's something we all can work on and improve. Oh, it's so beautiful, you know, and when I did that with my student there, Tanzia, he almost got emotional at the end of that. Because he said, Vinn, for over 25 years of my life, every time I open my mouth and I speak, I put people to sleep. Sometimes people yawn, and you would watch the video. When he spoke the first time, someone yawned in the audience. But then the second time he started to use his voice better, the audience was fully engaged. You heard the whole room, 50 people were laughing and engaged, right? And then he felt emotional because he said, Vinn, I thought for the longest time in my life that it was hard, that I couldn't do this, that it was difficult. But I can't believe how easily I was able to change the way I communicate. Just like you, when you were shocked how quickly you did 3, 2, 1. The brain is so good at fooling you. And if you even have an ounce of it's not possible for me, if you even have an ounce of I can't ever change and the way I speak is permanent, I hope you now know it's a complete load of nonsense. All right, let me ask you this. Have the lessons today been valuable? Have they helped you? Do you see how these lessons can completely transform the way you communicate? Yes, I'm so happy to hear this. Let me just grab a quick sip of water. Thank you. And can I ask you this? If there's a way for you to continue learning with me, would you like to hear more about it? And thank you so much. I appreciate you all saying yes. And listen, I want to share this with you before we even go forward. Do you want to learn one more framework? Do you want to go one more? Should we just go one more? Yeah, let's do it. Let's go one more. Let's do one more. You see, here's the thing. You just learned about frameworks, right? And frameworks is powerful because, okay, are you ready to go deep? All right, we're going to go crazy. All right, here we go. I'm going to write one really important word. This is probably the most important word in the realm of communication. It's the word influence, okay? Influence. Now, I only believe you to have influence and be someone influential if you can influence 4 things. You must be able to do all 4 things, otherwise I do not perceive you as being truly influential. You have to be able to influence the way people think, the way people feel, the way people behave, and their beliefs. Okay, so that's behave. Let me write that again. Behave, okay? Now, only if you can influence the way people think, the way people feel, the way people behave, and their beliefs, do I see you as someone who's influential. Now, there are 4 critical skills that you must learn if you want to have influence in your life. And so far, you've just learned the skill of frameworks, okay? So frameworks is a part of the communication massive framework that we learn together, but it's a small part that allows you to influence the way people think. But then there are 4 different skills that are incredibly important. The first one is called V.M. Now, V.M stands for, specifically, vocal mastery. Okay, that's the first skill you've got to learn. Then there's a second skill you must learn. The second skill is called BL, which stands for body language. Okay, body language, BL. The third skill you must learn is S.T, which stands for storytelling. Storytelling. And then the final skill is A.L, which stands for, my friends, might have guessed it, active listening. Active listening. Now, when you master these 4 skills, it then allows you to effortlessly, easily, gracefully influence the way people think, the way people feel, the way people behave, and their beliefs. Very few people in life are able to walk through life doing this. Very few people can do this. But I'm going to prove to you how powerful this is. I want you to experience this, okay? This is a very special experience, and I hope you lean into this with me, because I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to shift the way you think. I'm going to shift the way you feel. I'll shift the way you behave now. I'm even going to shift some of your core beliefs. And I'm going to do this with these skills here. But first of all, I'm going to actively listen to you. So I'm now going to ask you a question. I'm going to say a word. And when I say this word, I want you to type in chat for me what words come to mind. Okay, so I'll just say a word. The word I'm going to say is used car salesperson. A used car salesperson. Okay, so Dan, let's bring up the word cloud. A lot of negative words here. And I'm picking something triggering here because I want you to have strong thoughts, strong feelings, strong behaviors that you would have towards this person, and strong beliefs about this, okay? So we're seeing terrible negative words here. We've got dodgy, cheap, sleazy, shady, cringe, pushy, annoying, lies, scammy. Okay, Dan, let's swipe it away. A lot of negative words here. So we swipe that away. Okay, so we found a topic that if I wanted to shift the way you think, feel, behave, and your beliefs on that topic, it's really hard, right? Okay, good. Now that we've set almost an impossible task, what do most people do if they want to shift your beliefs on that? They want to shift the way you think about that. What do most people do? Most people do this. They go, no, you can't say that. How can you say that about all used car salespeople? That's not fair. You can't do that. That's terrible of you. And then what do? You now get even more firm in your position about what you think. Doesn't influence anybody. But let me show you the contrast when you use the skill of vocal mastery, body language, and storytelling now. I want you to experience it. Here we go. So I'll walk in, we'll make it dramatic. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2. Most of you have only known me for the last 6 months, so you probably wouldn't know this about me. My mum and dad are refugees from Vietnam. And my mum and dad arrived in Australia on March 31st, 1981. And my parents always tell me this story. When my parents first came to Australia, they were so lucky. They got some government housing in an area in South Australia called Theberton. So they were put in a house in Theberton. And one of the most important things for a refugee family, an immigrant family, when they first arrive, is their ability to get from one point to another. And this is a very common story. And the area my parents need to get to from Theberton was an area in South Australia called Virginia, because that's where all the farms were. And there was no way for my parents to be able to get there. It was like a 1.5 hour drive from that area, right? And so my parents realized they needed to go get a bike or some kind of car or something. So that was the first time my parents ever went to a car yard, and that's where they met Noah. And they had barely any English, okay? So they walk into the car yard with about 4 words in their pocket, and they find the cheapest car, which was $800, and then they go, okay, me, go, okay? And then Noah's like, no, rightio, mate, I get what you're saying. Look, I'm gonna need a deposit from you. I need some pay slips and some bank details, and we'll make it happen. And my parents were like, no, okay? Okay, go. They went out I'm just like, Dad, that's ridiculous. Oh my God. And then my parents left because Noah didn't let them take the car. The next day, my parents were geniuses, okay? Because the next day, my parents rock up. They pick some crappy mandarins from their garden that they had, luckily, and they put it in a box. And then they bring it to the car yard. They give it to Noah and they go, okay, go. And Noah's like, I can't take fruit. I can't take fruit as a deposit. This is ridiculous. I don't know how they do it in Vietnam, but in Australia, we can't take fruit as a deposit, mate. This is madness. Parents leave. Next day, they come back, some seeds, so he could grow his own plants at home, right? And it was crazy because my parents kept coming back, and they somehow touched his heart. Noah allowed my parents to leave with that car. No deposit, no bank statements, nothing. Just with the promise of words that my parents could barely say. And that was how my parents got their first car. That's my parents. That's the first car we got with nothing in Australia. And that's me in the picture wearing pink because my parents had no money to buy clothes, so people gave away dresses, so they put me in a pink dress. But regardless, that car changed my family's life. It changed the trajectory of my life. And in the Vietnamese culture, we have this beautiful quote where we say, when you eat the fruit, remember those who help you plant the tree. You know, I often think of Noah because Noah helped my family plant the tree I'm eating from right now. Noah, he's a used car salesperson. Let me ask you this. Was I able to shift the way you think about used car salespeople, even in the slightest? Was I able to shift the way you feel about used car salespeople? Was I able to shift the way you would behave around one if you saw one today? Did I shift some of your beliefs about a used car salesperson? And look, you definitely see a bunch of no's, right? But are you seeing overwhelming yeses? And I want you to really think about this. Imagine you were able to influence 90% of people that you meet. You can't influence everyone, it's impossible. But imagine now in your life, instead of only being able to influence 10% of people, you were able to influence. And think about this for you. You as a family member, you as a leader in your organization, you as a team member, imagine you were able to influence, and I mean this, really imagine you were able to influence the way your team thinks about you. You were able to influence the way your clients think about what you do, your product and your service. Imagine you were able to influence your customers' behavior of choosing you as opposed to somebody else. Imagine you were able to shift the things that the interviewers believed about you as the interviewee when you're going for your dream job. What would that mean for you if you harnessed the ability to influence everybody in your lives, the ability to influence the way they think, the way they feel, the way they behave, and their beliefs? What does it mean? It means that you can negotiate any reality you desire. Yet most people don't do this. So I ask you again, was this framework powerful? Giving you insight into voice and body language, all the different things that we must learn. So I ask you again at this point, if there's a way for you to learn with me, would you like me to share some information about it? Is that okay? All right. Oh, thank you. Some of you said, yes, please. Dan, if you don't mind, can we pause the chat at this point too? It's going a little bit crazy. I want to be able to focus here. But listen, I'd love to be able to share with you how you could join my stage programs. And I want to make a clear point at this point. If you have no intention of joining me in any of my stage programs, I'm not offended if you leave at this point and all you wanted was what we've learned so far. It's okay. I'm not offended. This next part, I want to share with those of you who are ready to take the next step. Those of you who are ready to go, hey, Vinn, I've learned with you. I like learning with you. I want you to be my teacher. And if that's the case, I'd love to share with you about my stage programs. We've got a really special Black Friday opportunity. This is something we've never done all year round. We only do it during this time of the year. And the first stage program I'd love to share with you is what I call my Stage Academy. So Stage Academy is my online course, is my flagship online course. And we've got a video here. I'll play the video so you can get a bit of a sense of what the Stage Academy is. So here's the Stage Academy. Check this out. Don't be so attached to who you are in the present that you don't give the future version of you a chance. Welcome to the Stage Academy. Welcome. For a long time, I've wanted to create the world's best online course for communication skills. I've spent years not just studying the art of communication, I've lived it. I've breathed it in. I was applying everything that I've learned across stages all across the world, in boardrooms and in one-on-one situations and interactions. I've mapped out the behaviors of masterful communication inside the Academy. We've got 8 modules and over 15 hours of structured content focused on all things communication. I can't wait to help you let go of the present version of you and step into the future version of you. Looking forward to seeing you inside Stage Academy. You know, I've been studying the craft of communication for the last 15 years plus, and I've put inside the Stage Academy everything that I've learned. And one of the things that makes our online course different to the other online courses, dare I say, is that we teach in person multiple times a year. And if you were to invest to come into one of our in-person classes, the investment is anywhere between $4,000 to $10,000 a ticket. But here's the thing. At these events, I record every single workshop. I'll show you. I record every single workshop from 4 different angles, multiple different videographers. We invest $50,000+ in capturing it. Why? So that we can use this content in our in-person classes to put in the online course. So in the online course, you can see real people applying a step-by-step process, and you'll see how easily they are able to create change. You'll see them struggle, but then you'll see them succeed. And when you see how easy it is for them, you go, oh, that's how I do it too. So we've got real people, real step-by-step processes that shows you real transformations. That's the power. And something that's a little bit unconventional and weird. The first thing that I get you to do when you join me is I get you to watch my $100,000 keynote. And you're probably thinking, oh, Vin, that's such an egotistical move, you monster. No, I do this for a very specific reason. I'll tell you why right now. Unfortunately, in the online learning space, there's a lot of fraudulent humans where they say they're good at something, but they're not actually good at the thing they say they're good at. So if I'm going to teach you public speaking and communication skills, I want you to go watch me speak in front of 10,000 people. And if I can't hold your attention for the entirety of my 1-hour keynote, well, then you shouldn't learn from me. You should do your due diligence. Is this person great at what they say they're great at? Does he talk the talk and walk the walk, or does he just talk the talk? So please, we here at the Stage Academy and the Stage Progress, we want to wear our heart on our sleeves. Go see me for my capability as a teacher before you choose me as your teacher. So when you join the program and you watch that, if you don't think I'm good, reach out to my team, get a refund. But if you watch that and you're like, damn, that guy's really good at what he does walk the walk after all, well then let's get on with it. But do your due diligence. Let's get on with it after that. Well, if you choose then to get on with it, well then what we're going to do next is we are now going to get into module number 2. Now this is where things start to get interesting. Because in module 2, part of you is going to resist it, part of you is going to be like, oh no, I don't want to do it. But here's the thing. Module 2, we go into the fundamentals. We go into the fundamentals here. We go into the basics. Why? Because, I want you to think about this. Do you notice how most people in life change their watch, change their clothing, change their fashion sense, their hair, their car, their house? They change everything about themselves, but they never change the way they communicate. They never change the way they sound. They never change the way they talk. It's interesting, isn't it? The reason is because of psychological blocks. So let me prove to you right now what's going to happen, okay? Dan, let's unlock chat for a second. But let me prove to you, okay? Let me take you through a series of questions to show you these psychological blocks. All right, here we go. Do you like the way your voice sounds? Yes or no? Just let me know. Do you like the way your voice sounds? Okay, so some yes, some no's. Okay, so whatever your answer is, that's fine. Okay, cool. So if you don't like your voice, then why don't you change it? Why don't you change it? Just change it then. A lot of people either A, don't know how, or believe they can't. See, that's an illusion here. That's a psychological block, and that's why most people never change the way they sound. Simple as that. So what's robbing them of a better sound is something so simple, but I'll prove it to you. Some of you are like, oh, you can't change the way you sound. I'll prove it to you by changing the way I sound. Are you ready? I'm going to change the way I sound. Because the way you sound is just a series of behaviors. It's how you control your diaphragm. It's how you manipulate the air. It's how you shape your vocal cords. It's how you control the air once it's in your vocal tract, your soft palate, what you're doing with that, what you're doing with your lips, where you place your teeth, how you maneuver your tongue. So if you start to change all of these behaviors, you change your sound. I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. Here we go. When I told my dad I wanted to be a magician instead of an accountant, do you know what he said? He said, "What the hell? What the hell, man? You want to be the Harry Potter? Bad boy, we kill this boy tonight." I just changed the way I sound, right? I'll change the way I sound again because you're like, "Oh, Vin, what was something else?" Okay, sure. I do apologize to all Texans at this point, but I love Texas. When I lived in America, I frequent Texas. I love it. Austin. Oh, weird Austin. I love it. Stay weird. Here we go. Ready? Change the way I sound. I've always wanted to be a cowboy. You know, I grew up watching Clint Eastwood, and I thought to myself, you know what? When I grow up, I want to learn how to ride a horse. Not only that, I could speak like this while in Texas, and some people might believe I'm Texan, even though I was born in Australia and raised by a Vietnamese family. Isn't that strange? But then some of you are like, oh, but you still sound like Vinn. Well, I'll change it completely then. Watch how crazy our voice is, that most people never tap into its potential because they either don't know how or they just believe it can't be done. But it is easy and quick to change. So, which character am I from Sesame Street? Have a guess which character I am. You ready? 3, 2. Hi, everybody. I'm green. I'm going to give you a really quick hint. I'm green. I've got lots of friends. My friend is Elmo. I've got Bert, and yes, I'm Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog. Hi, everybody. Kermit the Frog from Sesame Street. Yay, Kermit the Frog. That's one of my favorite characters, Kermit. You know, I can choose to speak like this for the rest of my life if I wanted to. Yes, I can choose to speak like this because it's just a series of behaviors. My children would love me. My wife would leave me. It's wild, right? Because the thing you don't realize is until you learn the fundamentals and get rid of the psychological blocks, the sound you are creating right now, without even realizing it, you are choosing to sound the way you sound. You are. You are repeating a set of behaviors because you are more addicted to the familiar than exploring what this instrument is capable of. That's the power of getting rid of all those psychological blocks. So why do we need to do this? Because you've fallen for this trap before. People watch 10 podcasts on communication, 100 YouTube videos, 1,000 reels on communication. But why has nothing changed? Because you haven't worked on the fundamentals. So once we clear the psychological obstacles, once we work on the fundamentals, then we dive into module 3. Now we get into the good stuff. Well, we're celebrating more students. Let me know in chat if you've joined. I'm celebrating our students. We've got Red Tent, Daniel, Elise, Eshel, Ashkokan. We've got Soha, Benjamin, Vinay, Chi, Julian. Next page, Dan. We've got Joanna, Tao, I saw you in chat before. We've got Collage, Michael, Cranny, Mike, James, Michelle. How do I say that, Dan? I have no idea, but I'll call you D. So thank you, Dee, for joining us. Saika has joined us. We've got Tamir in chat has joined us. We've got Vinn. Vinn's joined us. There's a Vinn in the audience. We've got Ryan's joined us. Reed's joined us. Violet, I think you've joined us. Stuart, hey, Stuart, good to see you, mate. Stanley's joined us. Kajal's joined us. Oh, so good to have you. I can't wait to see you in class. But you see, we've got about 50 spots left. I'm really excited to meet you if you want to join us. Listen. Once you get all the fundamentals right, now we can learn the techniques. The techniques do nothing unless the fundamentals have been learned. Then we go into, oh, this is very exciting. This is vocal mastery. I'm going to highlight this a different color because this is where you learn all the techniques on how to shift the way you sound. And just like my student before Tanzia, you'll be able to do this faster than you've ever imagined. It's just that we're so addicted to a series of behaviors we've been repeating for the last 10, 20, 30 years. But the moment you know how, just like when you learn 3, 2, 1, it changes in a moment. It's wild. So let me tell you about vocal mastery. I have spent years with vocal coaches. I've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars working with vocal coaches, opera singers, vocal coaches, speech pathologists, and I've taken all of the knowledge from these people and put them inside Module 3. And all of my vocal coaches, regardless of which area of expertise, all say the same thing. The human voice is an instrument. Whereas for my entire life, I didn't think of my voice as an instrument. Do you know how I used to talk? For 27 years of my life, I'll show you how I spoke, and you might relate to this. This is how I spoke. You're going to think I'm over-exaggerating, but I'm not, for those who knew me when I was young. I was like this. I just thought this is how you use your voice. And the reason I'm able to get back into this so quickly is because, again, I've been repeating this behavior for 27 years, so it's really easy just to fall back into it because I remember exactly how to use it. And, I would go to job interviews. This is how I'd use my instrument. I would go to dates, and that's exactly how I would use my instrument. And I wondered why I was invisible on dates. I wondered why I was invisible in job interviews. I wondered why every time I spoke, I had no influence. Because I didn't use the instrument masterfully. So as I started to teach this, now when I go out into the world, I see people who do that. I don't see dead people, but I see people who are not playing their instruments. And when I see people not using their instruments, in my head, I metaphorically see this. I see this when I see someone not using their instrument. No, when I see this, I'm like, no. Do you know that keyboard is capable of so much more? Do you know that that voice is capable of so much more? We designed Module 3 so that you'll be able to do this with your instrument. Unlock your potential. I used to go through my entire life speaking like this. Without realizing, I had so many other keys to explore. We designed Module 3 so you can unlock all 88 keys and speak like this, not like this. And you're probably thinking, wait, hang on a second, Vinn, just for clarity, are you teaching us how to play the keyboard? No. I'm going to teach you how to do it with your voice. So I want you to watch this video of one of my students. I want you to see him before vocal mastery and then after vocal mastery. And when you watch this video, I want you to pay particular attention to what he's wearing. Why? Because some of you are asking, Vinn, how long does it take to create this change? Well, the videos you're about to see, the 2 videos I'm about to show you, it wasn't a year before I showed you the after video. It wasn't 6 months. It wasn't a month. It wasn't a week. It was on the same day within the same 10 minutes. Watch this before and after, and I think you're going to be so inspired. There's so much more potential that gets unlocked the moment you learn how. Have a look at this video. Here's the before. See if you can guess what speech this is from.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty world. I don't care how tough you are. You'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna get hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you're hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you are worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean place and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, nobody's gonna get hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit.
Give me some quiet now.
It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth.
Yeah.
But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying that you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or not anybody. Cowards do that. And that ain't you. You are better than that.
Oh, it's so powerful even watching that, even though I have taught this for more than 15 years. But it's crazy because my students always tell me this after module number 3. They go, then it's scary to think that if I never learned how to unlock my voice, imagine that student of mine there, right? Imagine he stayed version 1.0. Imagine he went through the entirety of his life not learning how to unlock this instrument, playing his instrument like this in every job interview moving forward, in every social interaction, in every family moment of connection. What do you miss out on? And there's this moment that happens for all of my students where they go, it's so scary to think of that because the version 2.0 of him that unlocked the way to speak, that changes the way you feel, shifts the way you think, changes the way you behave, that version now opens up a whole new future. But it requires you not to be so attached to who you are in the present. Give the future version of you a chance. You know, I'm going to skip a couple of modules here because I want to share with you something really powerful. But before we do that, Dan, let's celebrate some more of our students here. So many of you are joining. This is so exciting. I can't wait to meet you. Here we've got Joanna has joined Tao. We've got a couple of Taos have joined us, actually. We've got Kalaj. We've got Michael, Cranny, Mike, James, Michelle, Saika. Next page. I think we shared that page already. That's okay. We've got Juliet, First Notary. We've got P. Stan Nisku. We've got Kajal, Maya, Sophia, Nura, Candy, Andrea, Stanley has joined us. That's amazing. We've also got Dory. Oh, sorry. We've got Dory. We've got Dory, KWFC, June. We've got Jess Cat, Ramirez, Vi, Seb, Muse, Drew, Bujuan. Let me know in chat if you've joined. Someone said, and me, Sarah. Sarah, looks like you've joined. Sarah, so good to have you. Let me know in chat if you've joined as well. We've got Nathan's joined us. We've got Rain has joined us. Peter, hello, Peter. We've also got, Shanette has joined us. Oh, who's that name? Kia. Hello, Kia. Geordie, g'day, Geordie. Good to see you. Oh, that's amazing. Tommy, I can't wait to see you in class. Julie, I can't wait to see you in class. Oh, goodness. And we've got Merrigan has joined us as well. You will not recognize the future version of you that we will be able to unlock. This past version of you, say goodbye to it. Because the reality is, look, if you want to go learn everything yourself and go watch all of the videos that are out there and piece the puzzle together, look, it's possible. The promise that I have for you is that I'll just take you on the faster route. I'll take you on the faster route because I have no doubt you can do it if you spent years and years and years doing this yourself. But the difference with us is we'll help you get there faster. I don't believe in shortcuts in life. But like I said, I believe in faster routes. All right, let me tell you about the next module. This is module 5. I'm skipping a couple of modules because I need to tell you about module 5. Because module 5 is hands down worth the entire investment of 899. It's scary. Because when you learn this skill more than any other skill that you will learn with me, is what's going to allow you to negotiate the reality you desire. And it's the skill of storytelling. Oh, this is such a powerful skill. I need to do it in red, and I need to create a little fire around it. Because this skill, I'm going to share with you why, and technically and theoretically, why it's so important. Now, you have to also ask at this point, Vinn, where did you learn all of this from? You know, I lived in the US for 5 years. And the reason I lived in the US for 5 years is because I wanted to expand my mind, expand my thinking. And specifically, I lived one of those years downtown LA. Specifically because I wanted to be close to Hollywood. I wanted to learn storytelling from the world's best. And the person I really wanted to learn from was Brian Grazer. Brian Grazer is an incredible producer. He's produced incredible movies, an incredible storyteller on screen. But things that people don't know, if you don't know who Brian is he is an incredible storyteller in person. And I wanted to learn from him. So I've distilled the lessons I've learned from Brian and put it into Module 5. But I want you to first watch how amazing Brian is as a storyteller. And here's a clip of me learning from him while I was spending time in Los Angeles. Check this out. Have a look at this. This was back in the days when I used to be a blonde. Have a look at this.
O2.
Look, let's have a little bit of fun. I just want to rapid fire some questions at you. You've done amazing.
Okay.
First question, Brian, your biggest movie failure.
Okay, on Apollo 13, we're going to the Oscars.
Yes.
And everyone says, you're going to win the Oscar. You're going to win, you're going to win, you're going to win. I'm thinking we're going to win. I'm sitting at the aisle right here, 5 rows from Sidney Poitier, who's got the envelope in his hand. Literally. Right next to me is Ron Howard, then Jim Lovell, then Tom Hanks. And what happens is, I'm thinking we're going to win because everybody told us we're going to win. I got my speech right there.
Oh, no.
And as Sidney Poitier opens the envelope, I see him pull it out, and he's got a bee rolling off his lip, almost imperceptible. So when I see the bee, I get up.
Oh, no.
To win the Oscar.
Oh, that's so bad.
And as I approach, they say, Braveheart.
Oh.
And so I, just about crawl back to my seat. I'm so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed that I actually, everything is going in slow motion. I see one of my friends that ran a different studio, puts a big L, like loser, on his, he did that on his, he literally did.
That's someone you unfriend from Facebook for sure.
So then, that was not good. So then I sit down, I'm so embarrassed because the camera was on me the entire time. And I got the L in my mind, everything's going down, it's bad. I look over, Jim Lovell grabs my wrist like this and he goes, I never made it to the moon either. And I thought, I put it in perspective. So that was a huge bummer.
Wow, that is...
Yeah, that's
bad.
better than talking about the flops, man.
Yeah. Oh, you should have just pretended you were going to the toilet. You just no, I'm just going to the toilet. What the hell? Brian.
I should have known you.
Well,
I would have had the idea.
We could have totally segued.
I know.
And you could have just went, no, the bathroom. Yeah.
All right, I'll go faster on the next one. Okay.
I love that one, though.
All right, okay.
That's a massive failure, for sure. I probably shouldn't have called him a massive failure when you want to learn from the guy, but like I said, I'm a goofy guy. Like I said, I ain't going to change who I am for anybody, not even Brian Grazer. But I share that with you because see how amazing he was? And I want you to know that as your teacher, I will go to the best in the world at the crafts that I'm teaching you. I'm not going to go read 5 books and then teach you the craft. I'm going to learn from the best in the world. I'll package it and distill it in a simple and fun way, put it into the module and teach you. But again, let's dive into why storytelling is so powerful. This part's going to freak you out. It's going to freak you out. Are you ready? Let me ask you a question before I freak you out. Here's the question. Type yes or no. Up to you. Do you feel a sense of connection with me? Do you feel a sense of connection with me? And thank you for your answer. I'm seeing a lot of yeses, thank you. I did see the occasional no there just went up, and that's totally fine, it's totally fine. But would you agree with me that 95% of people in chat feel a sense of connection with me? Maybe 90%, okay? Let's not be so generous. Let's go 90% of people feel a sense of connection with me. Do you know how I've been able to make 90% of people all around the world feel a sense of connection with me, no matter where you're from? Do you know how? It's because I've been storytelling with you. And the more I storytell with you, the more space I take up in your memory. Because when you learn the storytelling technique in module number 5, you then stick in people's minds. And I'm going to prove it to you. This part's going to scare the living daylights out of you. I told you a story 2 hours ago. Yet you're going to find yourself remembering nearly every single piece of information. I'll test you right now. Ready? First question is, what product did I sell my friends? What product was it? Do you remember? What was the product? What did I sell them? Yes, it was an MP3 player. Even if you didn't type it, did you remember it? All right, next question. What website did I go to? Do you remember what website I went to buy it? Which one was it? Yes, it was eBay. It was eBay. I went to eBay. You forget people's names the moment they tell you. They go, hi, my name is this. And you're like, oh God, forgot the name already. I told you these pieces of information 2 hours ago. You still retain it. Next question. How much money did I make in total in that week? How much money, total revenue did I make? How much money was it? $3,000. Yes, you remembered the total revenue. You remembered a number. How much was the cost of goods, COGS? What was cost of goods? Do you remember? You remembered the cost of goods. You remembered it was $1,500. Isn't that ridiculous? Here's even more crazy, right? What about that? I took all the $5 notes and $10 notes and coins and I stuffed it in what? What did I stuff it into? I stuffed it into a Lego tin box. Isn't that frightening? When you learn the skill of storytelling, you learn the formula that I share with you in Module 5. When you storytell in a job interview now, and they're interviewing 50 people, you now become the most memorable candidate. When you use frameworks, you now come across as the most competent. When you learn body language, you now radiate presence. When you learn vocal mastery, now you sound competent. Your voice fills the room. Confidence, not too much, because I tell you how to dial it down and not go into arrogance. I show you how to show humility. And when you learn how to do this and you storytell, now you are the most memorable candidate they've ever connected with. What does that mean? Imagine you did this with everybody you meet from this point in, therein in life. And you're able to create a connection with 90% of people you meet instead of only 10% of people you meet in this life. What does that mean again? What does that mean for you? I'll make it easy for you because the sign's been in front of you the entire time. It means that reality becomes negotiable for you. And you'll be able to now negotiate whatever reality you desire. Yet so many people drive with the brakes on in life and wonder why everything is so hard. Listen, we go through self-confidence. We go through active listening. We go through body language, through and through, all the foundations of body language. From the world of theater, which I've spent years in, I give you all the fundamentals. We dive into how to deal with nervousness. We go into all of it. We learned, I won't go any further because promise is a promise. I want to do the giveaways. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to another camera here. The promise is a promise, so let's switch cameras.